So we've launched Pirate Cove, and we want to show just how much work has gone into it, how much work has gone into pulling together a master plan. And Andy, this is archetypal of what we do for projects anyway. But I mean, first and foremost, there's so much pirate stuff out there. Why did we choose to do pirates in the first place?
That's a great question. There is a lot of pirate stuff out there, as you say. I think that these evergreen stories are evergreen. They're always relevant to people, and they tend to come around in cycles and things. And pirates, I think, represents parts of people's imaginations and curiosity that is linked to all kinds of things, like whether it be dragons and castles or the Titanic. And there are certain stories that we really resonate with and we want to see again and again. Vikings, for example, so pirates will be those kinds of stories and characters that we'll always enjoy seeing, because they run the gamut as well, from being roguish and funny to quite brutal and actually quite cutthroat. Pardon the pun, or pun intended. That's either way, it's fine. So I think it's really it's a story, and it's a world in which guests, I think, will always find joy and excitement and
It,
adventure.
and it's that anti-establishment thing as well, isn't it?
Absolutely,
Playing into
absolutely.
it. And I guess sort of bringing in some of the insights that we've done recently, in particular for the Trends Report, looking at the year 2030.
Yeah.
This idea around deep time is something that we've brought into this. So we spoke about a trend of people really romanticizing about periods in time that is beyond the nostalgia of the
Yeah.
90s and the 80s and the 70s, actually looking further back and going, wow, wouldn't it have been amazing to have been a member of the Roman Empire
Yeah.
or be
Go
a
to the Wild
Viking?
West. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
exactly. Yeah.
Because in the world in its current state, the one thing that people need is escapism,
Yeah.
and obviously we've really played into that idea that actually um, it's deep time romanticism in the island
Absolutely.
of pirates, but it's not just all about drunken buccaneers killing each other, is it?
Yeah, so our guests are always looking for places to go to where they feel that it's a reassuring kind of place in history they can visit and experience. And I think in this time at the moment, they're looking for escapism and adventure, but things that they can control and places they couldn't even go to in their imaginations. I think that's what's really interesting. It's so different from their everyday as well.
Absolutely. And one of the other kind of insights we looked at for this project is, well, there's actually three, thinking about what audiences require, not just now, but in the future as well. Obviously, we've been banging the drum for a while about sort of nature, the restorative purpose of nature, and actually people finding an element of well-being in nature. That's something we've certainly brought into Pirate Cove, but also this idea of unexpected magic, or
Mm.
these spontaneous moments that have a human touch element, or there's an ability for guests to, really intrinsically play with one
Mm.
another and connect.
Yeah.
They kind of the embodiments of some of the experiences we've pulled out for Pirate Cove, isn't it?
It really is. It's a really good point. I think when we started this journey, it was my kind of sort of wish, and it was my sort of desire to the team to say, right, let's really look under the hood, as it were, of pirates, of what they represent and how they're currently existing in media and in the world right now, and obviously at Catapult, what we could do differently. How could we reinvent their stories? And you're right. I think we wanted to find parts of the pirate stories that were more resonant nowadays, that felt more contemporary in a way. So I don't think we're trying to reinvent the pirate, but I think we're very conscious of the fact this is 2025, and we are much more inclusive and we're much more tolerant as a society, and we want everyone to feel welcome and invited and part of that. And I think our pirates and the way in which we've presented them allow everyone to kind of come to this, ragtag group of individuals, but they're really eclectic. They're from all over the world, and I think what was a lovely kind of story point that we kind of added in with our pirate legend was that these pirates came from all over the world, and they brought parts of their histories and their culture, and it made their world and their island more well-rounded and more established. And I think that's a wonderful part of the story that people can take away from that. And if that's the one part they take away from Pirate Cove, then that's a really wonderful thing to take into the world.
And that kind of bled through into the creative direction as well. You was talking me through earlier some of the mood boards around
Yeah.
looking at pirates from different regions. How did that sort of play into the overall design of Pirate Cove?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first instance it was about giving our guests something that they hadn't seen before. So I think everyone's kind of color palette for pirates is very much Spanish forts and things like that. And so that was the first thing. And once we as a team we gathered all of our research, we did a really deep dive into pirates. So that was going to do historical work and what are kind of existing pirate fortresses, things like that, and how are they represented in media and attractions currently, and how can we refract that? What can we do differently as our kind of story point? And one of the key things we found were representations and architectural styles and visual styles from other parts of the world, other cultures. So from Southeast Asia, for example, representations of the quality of the water and the rock work and how there was more ingenuity in some of the way in which they would construct things, like using bamboo and things like that, which was more visually exciting to us that we found. So we took Southeast Asia and we took influences from India and Bali, those kinds of places. So we were very distinctly not looking to kind of find those architectural tropes that people are have seen before. We really did want something that was visually different, and also to play into the unexpected and to visual styles that guests hadn't seen before, and also to open that up into the wider world of food and beverage, for example, like bringing culinary delights from all around the world was going to be a really exciting proposition.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll come on to the barbecue experience
Absolutely, I
because
thought you might.
yeah, that's the one that's certainly
One of my
tickled my
favorites.
fancy.
Yeah,
Yeah, forget the rides. It's all about the
absolutely. We're here
barbecue.
for the barbecue. Come for the ride,
No.
stay for the barbecue.
But one of the big visuals that people would have seen is the
Mm,
Pirate Cove entrance, isn't
yeah,
it? With the skull, and we've decided to kind of show our process, haven't we? You know, right from that initial concept sketch where we preach that fail fast mentality almost,
absolutely.
all the way through into 3D. Just tell me a little bit about why we go on that journey
Sure.
and sort of like the creation of visuals like that.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting. I love the fact we're doing it, and thank you to you for sharing that as well. It's wonderful that we're sharing our process as a company and how we go about this, because obviously it really does take a village, takes a community to create these things. It's not just one person; it's everyone's shared creative vision. And I try and kind of lead and orchestrate that kind of visual design. And as you say, when we first kind of stumbled upon Pirate Cove, we started, and I think there are some iterations from Eric and other people on the team to showcase that. We started looking at kind of pirate, almost detritus and kind of flotsam and jetsam. So, for example, it was about boats and masts and the wooden barrels and things like that. And we looked at it and it was great. You could see some of the exploratory sketches that we have, but it almost didn't feel big enough. It didn't feel kind of visually impactful. And one thing we have to work with as designers is that visual style has to really communicate fast. So, for example, when our guests see something, yes, they can identify barrels and they can identify, pirate flag, and they'll start to kind of assimilate the details of the land. But if you have something much bigger and broader, for ours, we have this incredible kind of rockwork skull. So you really communicate very quickly that this is a place that's kind of large and impactful. It's hidden, it's rock, it looks a bit dangerous, but it's kind of maybe safe and foreboding in equal measure. So we explored that. So once we kind of took that, Eric did some wonderful. I kind of directed him to say, how about if it was a skull and there'd be flames within the eyes. So it really grabs you as a land and it really communicates the visual style before you even kind of entered through the portal there. And portals are really helpful for us as designers in themed entertainment to communicate that story right from the get-go. And I think that's been such a fun journey with Pirate Cove to see the evolution of the portal of Pirate Cove, this incredible skull. And then one of our team members, Jack, has done such an amazing job of creating that in 3 dimensions. So you can see the evolution of Eric's sketch, the beautiful illustration, and how that then starts to take reality, how the shapes shift and form, how the scale becomes impactful, and then how we start to kind of weave landscape into that to kind of begin that journey.
Mm. Yeah, and I guess it's worth noting that we don't do it just to make it more pretty. It
Absolutely, yeah.
it has got a fundamental form, which is to aid the next development of design,
100%.
and then eventually building construction of these places.
Yeah, everything has to make sense. Everything has to be visually communicative, thematically consistent within our story. And you're right, it's not just about the pretty picture. It's great if people think it's a pretty picture. I'd love that people enjoy the work that we do, but it's doing so much more than that. You're so right. And for our guests and our audiences, they shouldn't even see the work in which we've done. It should be present to them and communicate really well. And it means we're doing our job really well.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the attractions mix, there's some
Yes.
really interesting things there, and I want to talk to you about the power of story or the power of narrative. Some of the rides that we've included in here are, more or less off the shelf rides that
Yeah.
you can get. But I just want you to sort of explain just how important it is to really nail down the story. So even if someone has gone on a ride that is very similar, for example, the
Mm.
drop tower we have, that we're
Yeah.
still adding a layer of experience that's different to what they have anywhere else.
Yeah. It's a really good question because obviously the menu when you're planning these things of the attractions that go into the mixture, it's a really kind of delicate alchemy as it were really. So when we're planning that, certain parts of the budget are going to go to your big signature attraction, for example, our water ride, and then within that you have to be conscious of how much money is going to be invested in other attractions, as you say, and so utilizing existing ride types that we can go to vendors and manufacturers to utilize is great. And then it's about making sure that they still make sense within our land and the story. So, for example, you said that the lookout towers, they become part of the story. So guests are actually encouraged to look out and look further beyond the horizon to see if there are other, pirates coming or other enemies approaching. So, and then within that, we hope there would be, soundscapes and music in there. And I hope that at Catapult we provide the holistic experience of this attraction. So it's not just one attraction that's come off the shelf and provides just that one element, which is the thrilling experience. We actually provide more of that well-rounded experience of the music, the sense of adventure, and making you want to do it again, which is basically the most important thing. When we do these attractions, you never really design for the first time that someone does it. You want them to come back for the 5th time and the 10th time, and then tell their friends about it. They're really excited to come back and do this at Pirate Cove because it's really good.
Absolutely, repeat visit.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's the
It's all about the
golden
repeat visit.
elixir. Golden
Absolutely.
elixir
If
of
we can get that
operators.
right, we're doing really well.
Absolutely. And something I spoke to Haley about, who was art director on this
Yes.
project, was um, the idea that the attractions mix is kind of split between an active and a passive sort of models, if you
Yeah.
like, to be able to give different guests a better sense of well, whatever experience works for them. Obviously, we're doing quite a lot of work at the minute in terms of understanding neurodiversity a lot more in themed attractions. But yeah, what was the thinking around sort of making sure the attractions mix wasn't just the stereotype thrillometer going
Yeah.
from high to low, but actually it was for a breadth of people?
Yeah. That's a really good question. And again, it comes down to our programming and our kind of menu design of this. So I think having an attractions mix that kind of caters to everyone is super important. We would love everyone to come to this land, from grandparents to young kids, to find something that they enjoy at this land and make them want to come back to. So if you're not quite ready for the water ride or maybe the drop towers, then there'll be other things within this land, obviously the barbecue, that you're going to want to come and enjoy and have fun with. So, and it's part of the mix of the day. So we've talked about things like treasure hunts within there, and we've talked about mazes and things. So kind of that low hanging fruit, which is sometimes inexpensive, but really kind of pads out a guest stay and their experience within the land, gives them something to do while they're waiting. And we always want to make sure that all of our guests feel welcomed and encouraged and feel present within our lands.
Fantastic. And you mentioned food, so I'm going to have to go on to the food. The Portside barbecue, but I'll just read out that this is a quick serve restaurant, but it doesn't say anything about people staying there all day, which is what I'd be doing. The flames of the barbecue are always stoked, and music always plays at the waterfront spot. Try tasty food from around the world at the barbecue. I just love this idea, and I think it's more the smell than the taste.
That's a
The
really good point.
fact that
Yep.
it is emphasizing you're in a different world because of the power of smoke and the smell of smoke as well. And maybe you
Yeah.
could just give a sense of a description in terms of what this portside barbecue might look like.
Absolutely. So, going back to originally what we started talking about, that we wanted this to be somewhere that there were many pirates who've come to this land. And so we talked about pirates coming from Africa and Asia and bringing that real sense of food discovery. What have they brought to this land when they've stayed and made a home for themselves? What kind of skill set have they have they brought to it? So it might be cooking, it might be be being able to fix, hats and things like that, or it might be able to be, fixing swords and things. But in this instance, we've got this kind of portside barbecue. So number one, it's near the water. It's a waterfront dining, which I think is really exciting. You're going to have that beautiful kind of lookout over this whole land. We've got people on the water's edge looking out, seeing the entirety, kind of like chilling out for the day, taking a moment after their amazing time there. But more than that, it's having incredible food that they wouldn't necessarily associate with pirate food, or what is pirate food, for want of a better expression, I guess, because people might think it's just, weevils and crackers and things or whatever. We're trying to kind of like, do something that's more interesting. And as you said, you make a really great point. The design of this was about having something that was visually iconographic. So you're going to see this kind of stone chimney that's been really kind of ramshackle made, and it's about the ingenuity and the industrious nature of these pirates that they've made do from what they have around them. So stones have come around, and pieces of wood from previous ships and things have all been made to kind of like coerce this kind of barbecue there. And they want pieces of home. They want things that they've had, that they've been used to, and they want to share it with the people who live at Pirate Cove. And so you're going to see things like ribs and amazing chicken and all these kind of things, but also, vegetarian options as well. The great thing about it is having these different cultures represented, that you're going to get, all kinds of different culinary delights that are going to be smelling great, but also you're going to see the flames of it. It's going to be a really theatrically based kind of food offering, which I think is really exciting.
Oh, you make my mouth water.
We want to go there now, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really funny. My Instagram is just filled with recipes for corn ribs.
Oh, there you go. I think that's a great.
So,
corn is great for that. Absolutely.
Let's do that. As part of the attractions mix as well, we've also highlighted two or three options in terms of live entertainment, which obviously plays into that trend that we spoke about around having those spontaneous moments, or those moments that people don't necessarily expect. So, we fleshed out ideas around a potential street parade, which we know works really well in these sorts of themed environments. But also, I'm really fascinated by this idea of, I think we called it the residents of Pirate Cove.
Yeah.
So these sort of small street moments that, almost take the art of pirate and turn it into a street show.
Yeah.
I can imagine people having so much fun watching them as guests.
Absolutely. I think it really provides the atmosphere of the land. I think that's the next level that brings it to life. So we've talked about the attractions, the look, the stone that you can touch, the bamboo buildings. We've talked about all of that kind of thing, but it's the people, the residents of Pirate Cove, that's really going to provide that level of interactivity. And the people who live there, I think you're going to want to go meet with them and talk to them, and they provide that next level of interactivity and story. They're going to be the ones to tell the story to guests, and to meet them in person, to meet the resident chef of the barbecue is going to be fantastic, and to and to hear a bit more of the story of that. And obviously, the people and the actors who are going to inhabit these roles can really flesh out the story of Pirate Cove and take it. It's lovely to have a story, a curated story, give it to individuals to allow them to take it on further, and then for guests and those people to kind of have that conversation within the land.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned story there. The story is something that obviously we do anyway as part of master plan and themed attraction projects that we work on. But we've really sort of took the initiative here with Pirate Cove with a carte blanche, a blank sheet of paper to do whatever we wanted to. But I love this idea, and speaking to James, who worked on the story for this, the idea that this was an island under an ink blot in a map. I just love this idea that it has been a hidden world. But again, moving away from the stereotype of pirates, this is a place where pirates feel like is home for every other pirate, the Pirate League. It's flipping its head on what we think pirates are about.
Absolutely, you're so right. That was very much the ideology of this. The fact that it wasn't a place where pirates are being, taken away from. It wasn't a place where they were vilified or attacked. It was a place that they felt safe and that you could join their league. You're absolutely right. And it was we came across the idea of it being hidden from the world. So it's kind of this island archipelago kind of thing, and it's vessels and ships can kind of get into this port, this kind of like almost like a caldera kind of thing, but it's a place of safety, and it's where they feel they can be themselves, and you can join it. So, like you said, it's taken the pirate story and just kind of flipped it on its head a little bit. And
Mm,
I think our guests are going to want to come here and be a part of that pirate crew, that pirate league, and to join it.
absolutely. And some of the insights that I looked at in this in terms of what people found interesting about pirates. I wanted to know what it was that really tickled people's fancy. And
Mm,
actually, what I thought would be the battles aspect of pirates and the fighting was probably one of the lower
yeah,
ranking things that people wanted. It was more about what is life like, or what was life like as a pirate, and
yeah.
the adventure of seeking new lands. And
Mm,
yes, obviously, seeking treasure was, was part of that as well. But it was more about the discovery
yeah.
of being a pirate who then explore the world. That's what people really want, and that's something that we've really embodied within the lands that we've designed as well, isn't it?
It is, and thank you, because again, your insights were invaluable to us when we first started talking about this at Catapult. As you provide the amazing insights from our guests of what they're seeking, what are their wishes and their desires for this, and it really helps us at the beginning of the process to understand our audience. What are the kind of the notes that we want to be hitting? And as you say, from your research, it actually helped us kind of pivot towards, yeah, battles and fighting wasn't as important as we thought it would be, which was fantastic because it wasn't something that we really resonated with. I think it's a part of our land. We would love to have that be, you want a little bit of intrigue, a bit of danger, but you're absolutely right. From the insights that we gained, we found that it was about the adventurous spirit of these pirates and the kind of the community and that kind of feeling a part of something was much more important to guests. That discovery, which we wanted to lean into for sure.
And we're not necessarily going to release this straight away. This will be later in the summer, but something that we have done is work on the hotel concept for this as
Yes.
well. So give us a little bit of insight into how we've sort of poured that story and that theme across into a hotel resort.
Yeah. It's really interesting, actually, and I'm excited for everyone to see it because we got to a point in the development of Pirate Cove, and a hotel master plan became part of the discussion and part of the master plan. And what we wanted to do was to have them not be two disparate experiences. We wanted to kind of connect them and literally connect them at the ports, essentially. So we wanted it to be a connected experience to Pirate Cove, and obviously for Pirate Cove, the residents to be able to see the structure. So it became really important to us how it looked and what was it was a part of. And again, going back to what we discussed earlier, the actual look and feel of this hotel, this resort, is going to be something that I don't think guests have seen before, and they're not going to associate with pirates. It's not a ramshackle hotel for one thing, because I don't think people would necessarily want to see what pirates consider deluxe accommodation. But at the same time, we took references from onboard ships and captain's quarters and things, and we really wanted to give some of that to our guests. For mums and dads and grandparents and friends traveling, maybe they want to experience what it would have been like to be in a captain's quarters and to have that luxurious look and feel. But for kids, for younger families, or for kids at heart like us, having that more below decks experience, the fun and the bunk bed, hammock kind of quality. We're trying to answer that kind of story as well, but embedded in a place that is very architecturally unique and different, and provides a different story, and also encourages guests to look deeper, because this Pirate Cove, has a lot of stories going on, and there's a lot more to discover than just the pirate ships and the citizens. There's a whole history that goes back a long way, and this pirate resort begins to tell some of that story.
And I mean, I can't wait to share just some of the work, the visual, the
Yeah,
3D renders that the team have done are just
it's fantastic.
amazing. But there's been, you highlighted it slightly, there's been a lot of work done around making somewhere that's thematically amazing, but it's not over the top for parents,
Yes,
but it's amazing for kids. And
absolutely.
some of the kids' sleeping quarters are beautiful. I'd be fighting my own children to go in there.
You're so right, and it's this really delicate balance. We have to kind of get that balance right in terms of you want people to feel comfortable there. You've got your mums and dads, us staying there, and you're right, not feeling too overtly in your face, but you obviously want to tell the story of these pirates. We want to have that be present, but also we want to ignite the spirit and child in all of us, and for it to be fun and engaging. And I think one of the things that we do is we always, and I think we're really good at this at Catapult, is that we kind of delve into that inner child that never really goes away and think, what would be fun for us? What would have been fun when we were kids? And we want to give that back into the world for the kids of now, and also, like I said, for the adults. Why can't anyone stay in these incredible sleeping quarters? They're just fun for everyone.
Absolutely. And especially, and I would say the bathrooms that we've designed as part of these as well. That has gone straight into my mood board for my next bathroom at home. So.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it was we really wanted to turn that on its head as well. And again, for everyone going to a theme park, sometimes you need that spa moment, and we've tried to give that to all the parents who and the kids having fun, but just to have that really beautiful spa moment that is completely in contrast to everything they've done in the day. So yeah, it's a really fun bathroom. I think it's some fantastic work the team have done. Really, really proud of it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to share it. As you may have seen, and for those listening and watching, you might have already seen, but on our website where we have all of the Pirate Cove content that we've created, there is also a pirate name generator. I don't know if you've done it for yourself yet, Andy,
I haven't
but I've
yet.
done it.
No,
That's good because I've already
done it for
done yours.
me. Here we
Yeah,
go.
so yours
Lay it
is
on me.
Salty Azure Scallywag. Are you okay with that? Mine is Mad Rum Jaws.
Oh, wow. Okay. I've never seen you drink rum, but I'm assuming
No,
you'd be, yeah.
but you didn't quickly rule out Mad or Jaws.
Mad, I just went past. Yeah. I focused on the rum. But yeah, I'm not trying over to be salty at all. So yeah.
Fantastic. I've got one final question for you
Yes.
before we wrap up. I don't know where the voiceover came from for the video that we released.
I don't know. Yeah.
Do you
It's
have
not
any
AI.
sense?
Yeah.
It's not AI.
It's not AI. I can tell everyone watching this. It's absolutely not. We very much believe in the power of AI at Catapult, but we only use it very sparingly and when it's absolutely necessary, and it's a tool for our artists to use. But we did not use it for this because we wanted the authentic pirate experience done by someone, and it was not done by AI. That's all I can say, really.
Okay, that's fine. So you are neither confirming nor denying your involvement.
I can neither confirm nor deny that, Robbie. That's a spurious mad rum reference you're putting out there.
The mystery deepens. It's under an ink blot somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll tell you after the recording.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Robbie.
Pirate legends often speak of an island on a map obscured by ink. A place called home by those who wander, their young retrieved and treasure squandered. Where mysteries lurk beneath their feet, of idols, of riches, of beasts asleep. A safe harbour for sea dogs and wayfaring souls, for anyone brave, hardy and bold. But what if I said the legends are true, and there's place in our treacherous ranks for you?
Come on.